Welcome back. In the last video, we talked about Terraform functions, wherein we created a bunch of functions and then used Terraform conditionals as well, which was kind of an if statement, and we use those conditions to perform certain operations on Azure. This is going to be a continuation to our last video, wherein we're going to create a bunch of resources. Those resources going to be public IP, and then we're going to create a subnet beneath our virtual network. Then we're going to create some NIC cards and then create a virtual machine at the end. So this is going to be a complete, at the end of the video, it's going to be a complete production deployment code for Azure, and there's going to be a lot of learnings at the end of the video. So without further ado, let's get started. So we had virtual machines created until our last video. Let's probably edit the location and probably use the same location as our resource group to keep up the uniformity. And then we've got resource group dot resource group dot location. Yep. And we're gonna start creating a subnet. So we're gonna refer back to our documentation. Let's pick the virtual subnet, which is this part. So I'm not gonna pick up the delegation and service delegation because those are optional. I'm gonna keep the test subnet. Let's give it a name as subnet, and then change this one as well to Azure subnet, and then yeah, subnet for TF course, and then we're gonna replace this with our resource group. That's what we've defined above. And yeah, that's pretty much all. This can be picked up from the variable section as well, what we have defined over here, address space. So I would like to, yeah, let's probably add one more. The address space I want is 10.0.2.0/24. This is the third value, 0, 1, 2, 3. So I'm gonna select use the element function, which is gonna be like element and then var dot address space comma third value. Yep, that's pretty much all. I'm gonna use the next block of code, which is gonna be public IP resource Azure rm underscore public IP, and then give it a name as public IP just in case we want to refer it later, and then use the parameters like name. Alright, that's the public IP's value, so I'm gonna pick up all these values and simply paste it over here. The name I'm gonna give is public IP, and then we're gonna use the same location as our resource group, so that's gonna be Azure rm underscore resource group dot location, and same goes for name as well, source group dot name allocation. Yeah, I want to keep it as static, and that's pretty much all. um these codes are pretty simple. However, in practical scenario in real life, you won't be just creating one public IP, you won't be just creating one virtual machines, you would be creating multiple of them. So what we're going to use is we're going to use a count function, give it a count as 3, and use it right over here as well, count dot index. And then we're going to use a NIC card, which is going to be joined with your virtual machines, and that network interface is right over here. So I'm going to pick up the code from here and use it until here. Gonna pick up the paste it right over here. Give it a name, Azure Net NIC. I'm going to use a count again. I'm going to create 3 NIC cards for 3 virtual machines. So it's going to be VM-NIC and then the count parameter. Same goes with the location and resource group. So I'm going to edit them together. Resource group. Alright, yep. Looks okay. And then go to IP configuration. Yeah, name looks fine. Test IP config. And then the subnet's gonna be Azure underscore subnet dot subnet dot az subnet and then dot id and dynamic, and I'm gonna use a public IP address as well, which is going to be element of Azure RM underscore public. Yep, that's what we've defined right over here. Dot public IP. Since we have used multiple counters, it's going to be star.id, and then to look up through all of them we're going to use count.index as well. Alright, looks okay to me. Yep, let's close the braces, and so that this one is closed as well. Move on to the next. Just to give you a glimpse, Azure Terraform also comes with a custom provider, which is like random. Random is to generate randomness within Terraform configuration, like you can generate random password, integers, IDs. So I'm going to use a random password. This is basically would be used to generate a random password for our virtual machines. So I'm going to use this random resource. So this is completely a resource, just like a virtual Azure or AWS. So we'll have to do an inet as well for this case. I'm going to use the random underscore password. And then we've got a password over here. Give it a length as 8 and use a special character as well. So you can refer back to the documentation. Yes, length is an acceptable parameter, then special, and then you can override some of the special characters as well. Alright, so we have defined our random resources. Now we're going to use the virtual network code. Let's go back to our code. That's our code. So I'm going to copy paste it right from, so we're going to create a Linux virtual machine. I'm going to paste this and start writing right from here. Let's edit the code basis our need. So I'm going to edit this as our VM-main, and then I'm gonna use this as Azure VM, and then I'm gonna create a multiple virtual machine. So that's what you're gonna do. You're not gonna create a single machine, then your production or dev environment is gonna have multiple uh, instances. You can use count and then assign a value to your count, and then use the count.index. I'm gonna edit these value right over here so that it can pick up the resource group name and location. And then we have got the interface ID as well. So since we have got multiple interfaces, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna element use the element function, element Azure RM virtual network, and then our NIC name, which was NIC. Replace the main with NIC. Since we've used a count function, we've used a asterisk and then iterate with count.index, and yeah, that's pretty much all. Let's edit this and close the braces. Cool, I'm gonna keep the VM size as standard and keep them these. So these ideally should be going to the variable section, which is we're gonna put it in the variable section. And then we've got the OS profile, standard OS disk. So we're gonna create 3 OS disks because we have got multiple virtual machines, so we need 3 OS disk for 3 virtual machines. And then I'm not gonna use the password right over here. I'm gonna use the random provider password and then dot result. Yep. Password, disable password authentication, I'm gonna keep it as false. And yeah, looks, rest of the configuration kind of looks okay to me. I'm gonna variabilize this as our tags, where dot, I think we've used tags already. Let's go and double check. Tags are right over here. I'm gonna use another tag. Tag2 is equals to resource equals to virtual machine, and then gonna use a cost center tag as well, which is like demo df course. Yep, looks okay. So uh I'm gonna define this into the variable section as well. Variable tag 2, yeah, tag 2, and then yeah, looks okay. And I'm gonna use a merge function so that I can merge these two tags, tag 1 and tag 2, tags and tags 2. I'm gonna go to main and then use merge, close the braces, var dot tag 2. Yep, looks okay. Let's do a Terraform init first, and you'll see that it's gonna initialize the Terraform plugins. It's so now it has got 2 plugins underneath it. One is random and one is Azure RM. Then do a Terraform validate. Looks like the source group hasn't. Alright, got a slight little typo over here. We're gonna go to line 101, and then instead of virtual network, so what we're gonna do is replace this with AZ VNet. Yep, let's do a validate again. Alright, the validation is successful. You would see that it has got the curly braces and the interpolation sign in few of our code, because that's what we've copied from the Terraform official website. However, since we are at the time of recording the video, we are using the latest version of Terraform. Over here, remove these braces which are not needed. Remove them right from here as well, and then probably from over here as well, and from here as well. So in earlier version before 0.12, you needed these curly and interpolation sign, but now with the latest version we don't need it. All sorted. Let's do a Terraform plan and see what all we have in store to deploy. Alright, so it's gonna create 12 resources, and those resources gonna be the virtual network, then the 3 virtual machines, that's the third one. The name is Azure VM2, that's the first one, and then the starts with the 0 right over here. And then we've got the subnet, public IP address 210, that's pretty much all. One thing I think we need to do over here is we created certain rules, and we should be using a port 22 so that we can access these virtual machines. Port 22 over here, yeah, looks okay. We don't need to edit the rest of the one. Let's just go through our code again and let's just verify that the IP configuration and everything has been sorted okay. So I'm going to go to NIC. Public IP address has been used, so that it's been assigned to the virtual machines, and then we've got the random password as well. Cool, sounds okay. Let's go ahead and apply our plan with auto approve, and let's wait for it to get applied. While this is being applied, I think we missed to add certain output, like the random password. Without the password, we won't be able to see the password we have set for our virtual machines. It's gonna be a random password dot password and dot result. We're gonna use a public IP output as well. Output public underscore IP, then Azure RM underscore public underscore IP dot star, because we used account, and then p underscore address, and then again an output for the virtual machine. Virtual machine dot, I guess it was main dot star dot name. I'm not sure it's going to pick up the output or not because we've already ran the Terraform apply, but let's just wait and see. It was VM name, so I'm going to edit this as VM name. Let's just wait for the Terraform to finish. Alright, looks like the resources are being deployed now. We've got the IP addresses, 3 IP addresses, and then we've got a random password which we assign to our machine, and then these are the name of the virtual machines. So let's go back to the Azure portal and see the virtual machines being created. Yep, these are the virtual machines which we were supposed to create, and we've gotten them. We wanted to merge the tags as well. So we've got the resource tag, and then we've got cost center tag merge using the merge function. And if we go back and then go back to our resource group, that was our resource group. We've got quite a few resources now. So this is kind of rough production deployable code with elements, counts, blend of a lot of things. So let's go ahead and try to SSH into the machine. So I'm going to do is SSH, and then the name of the virtual machine was, username was test admin at the rate, probably this IP, control C control V. Right, and then type in yes. The password was right over here, and yep, I've got into the machine as well. This is a brand new machine with nothing in it. The username is test admin with the sudo access. Yep. So yeah, that's pretty much all. We have written quite a few code now, and this is a completely production ready code which you can kind of use for Azure. In the next video, we're going to use provisioners, which can be a model specific action on your remote machine. So once you've built these machines, so in this lecture we just build machines. In the next lecture we're going to use provisioners and see how we can perform the post machine creation, post infrastructure stuff as well, just like Ansible or Chef or Puppet. So Terraform is also capable of doing the basic level of post configuration stuff. So that's what we're going to do in our next video. Stay tuned.